The daughter was like already crying and freaking out, and she said her mom told her to come find somebody to use their phone to call her grandma because she was going to jump in the water. We were down by Bradford Beach and by the park area where the boat landing is, and a little girl came running up saying her mom was going to jump in the water. So we ran out by the pier, and the mom was standing on the pier walking like towards us because she just now had seen us running towards her. And she was just bawling and just saying she couldn't do it anymore and she was exhausted. She said she didn't have any gas money, so I gave her $20, and her daughter drove off, and they said they were going to Brown Deer Road.
On Thursday, December 8, 2022, Khalilah S. Brister, 25, committed suicide, according to a report from the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office. Sadly, she drove herself and her daughter into a lake. The cause of death listed for her daughter, Tyrielle Jefferson, is homicide. Brister and Tyrielle were found dead Thursday in a car submerged in Northridge Lake, located just across from the former Northridge Mall at North 76th Street and West Brown Deer Road. Their deaths come after Brister's mother called 911 about 4:30 p.m. Wednesday to report that Brister was possibly suicidal and threatening to drive a car into the lake. Sheriff's deputies responded to Bradford Beach at Lake Michigan, but before they arrived, the Milwaukee County 911 dispatch center got word that Brister and her daughter had left. The dispatch center asked the deputies en route to turn around. Dispatchers planned to transfer the call to an agency in another jurisdiction, where witnesses believed Brister was headed. According to a Monday statement on behalf of the Office of County Executive David Crowley, the Brown Deer Police Department was notified that Brister may have been entering their jurisdiction. One sheriff's deputy did continue heading to Bradford Beach, according to the timeline, but did not find Brister and her daughter. It was not immediately apparent what other agencies did to search for Brister and her daughter. Brister's mother called the sheriff's office on Thursday to report she had not heard from her since 4:30 p.m. Wednesday. As sheriff's office investigators began to help Brister's mother search for her daughter, someone called to report seeing the vehicle in Northridge Lake. Divers pulled the bodies of Brister and Tyrielle from the water. During the pandemic, there has been an increase in suicides amongst Black women. Sadly, this is not the first story that I have highlighted showing mothers who kill their babies while committing suicide. Last month, I did a short video on a 26-year-old Tonisha Lachey Barker and her toddler, 21-month-old Jonathan Jones. Barker was having a hard time finding a job and providing for herself and her son after being laid off from work. She took her son and jumped off an highway overpass. These tragedies shed light on an ongoing issue that has caused concern over the increasing rates of suicide in the Black community. A recent study conducted by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that although the overall rate of suicide in the U.S. decreased by 3% in 2020, the rate of suicide among people of color and young people had increased. Similarly, the Center for Behavioral Health Statistics and Quality revealed that although Black adults reported lower percentages of suicidal ideation in 2021, rates of suicide attempts among Black adults were higher than any other racial or ethnic group. Equally as alarming, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services of Minority Health found that although whites continue to have higher rates of suicide, in 2019, suicide was the leading cause of death among Blacks between 15 and 24 years of age. Many in the mental health field are beginning to question what's behind the alarming increase in suicide among Black Americans, and research has pointed to 5 contributing factors. 1. Exposure to racism and anti-Blackness. 2. Continued exposure to violent crime, violence, and accumulated trauma. 3. Social media usage. 4. Existing stigma and myths about mental health in the Black community. 5. Untreated mental health illness. The harmful effects of social media use, exposure to racism, mental health stigma, and exposure to violence and accumulative trauma play a potential role in increased suicide rates among Black Americans. Still, we must continue to dig deeper to learn more. We must also begin to reframe how we look and talk about mental health issues in the Black community to help combat potential bias among mental health providers and address mental health stigma in the Black community. The family of Khalilah S. Brister and Tyrielle Jefferson has set up a GoFundMe that has raised almost $6,000. The GoFundMe states, "My name is Crystal, and I'm raising these funds for my great-aunt Jackie, to help her lay my cousins, Khalilah Brister and Tyrielle Jefferson, to rest after they were found in Northridge Lake. Tyrielle was one of my littlest cousins and my absolute best friend. She was sassy, and smart, and silly, and super sweet, and maybe just the tiniest bit smug. Like I said, she was smart. She was so unbelievably special, a star with a shine that just couldn't be dulled. She was only 7 and probably the boldest person I had ever met, and now so few people will have the honor of saying they had the privilege." Khalilah had the most endearing giggle and a smile that could just make your heart melt, but she was also troubled. We didn't realize how troubled until it was much too late. Both grandmothers spent hours going back and forth with the police in an attempt to find and save them, and, somehow, it all ended in tragedy. The families are devastated and there is a great deal of blame going around, but I'm hoping this will make it less difficult for everyone. I know nothing will truly make this easier for any of us, but it will be one less worry. We are waiting for official reports, but there are several services being planned and we are in need of funds. Absolutely anything could help. And, if you know anyone who may be in need of counseling or therapy, help them now and not later. Don't ignore the signs.
We could have been involved beforehand, and so now maybe next time somebody family ain't gotta go through this kind of stuff, man, and they can pay attention to when people saying they need help.
I gotta use it.
No.
Yes. No, get out.
No.
Dude, can you get out?
No.
Sorry, you. Really?
No.
I gotta pee. I gotta do. Thank you. Thank you. Get out. Go now. You almost had it.
No.
Dude, is you serious?
No.
Come on.
No.
I'm finna give me like 10 minutes.
No.